Great. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar all about the power of membership portals and how they can help engage, retain, and connect with your audience. And actually, we are talking about membership portals, but portals in general that can help any kind of organization, be it charity, voluntary, whatever. There's really amazing functionality that can really help everyone in the nonprofit sector. So let's just start off with introducing ourselves. So my name is Louise, and I'm the Chief Growth Officer at CiviPlus. So I'm working with all of our potential clients and our existing clients to really understand your needs and make sure that we can provide you with the digital resources that you need to achieve everything that you want. My background is actually as a fundraiser. I used to work for lots of different types of charities. I've used lots of different types of CRMs, and I really know the difference that having a really good one can make. And now I'm going to hand over to Alex to introduce himself.
Yep, and I'm Alex. I'm the Senior Marketing Manager here at, working with CiviPlus. And yeah, I charge lots of communications. I know the power of a really good communications platform, and, really excited about all the different ways we can connect with people, engage them, retain them. That's exactly the sort of thing that I do on a day-to-day basis. So I think it's just really interesting today, talking about the portal and all the different things it can do for membership organizations and all the other nonprofits that we work with.
Great, thanks, Alex. So here's a little whistle stop of the agenda. We're going to just talk through explaining kind of a little bit about what a membership portal is, just so we can position it in the same starting point for everyone. We're going to talk about the benefits. We're going to show you what one can look like, the CiviPlus one, and talk a little bit about what they can do. And then there'll be hopefully time for Q&A at the end. But before we get started, we just want to run a little poll so we know kind of who we're talking to. Obviously, we just said some hellos at the beginning, but we're just going to ask two questions, really. One, about what kind of CRM setup you're currently working with. And the second one, about your kind of feelings about a portal. And do you think your organization would benefit from having one? Maybe you already have one. So if everyone could just take a minute to fill those in, that would be really great. It just helps give us a little bit more of an understanding of who we're talking to. So we'll just give it one more minute. I think there's a couple more people to fill in. I think that's everyone. Really? Quite a lot of people here, so it takes a little bit longer.
Yeah. Right. Okay, I will end the poll then. Yeah, we've got most people answered. And let's have a look at the results. Yeah, you should be able to see, like, most people seem to have CiviCRM or CiviPlus, which is good to see. So yeah, some people with other CRMs, but lots of what we'll be talking about today will be quite relevant to people with CiviCRM and specifically with CiviPlus. So we'll be going into that. And I can see, in terms of how many people have portal, not many people seem to have a portal right now. So yeah, good sort of way to get information on it. Few of you have one, but you want a better one. So we'll be discussing that now.
Great. Right. Okay. I think actually, let's dive in. And it's over to you, Alex, to kick us off.
Yeah, so before we kind of get into what you can get on a portal, it's probably important first to say, well, what actually is a portal? And the first thing that you can say is that it's an online interface for the users and members to interact with. So they go to it, it's interactive. That's a really important part of a portal. It requires sign up. So it's something generally that people are going to have put their details in. It's going to be locked behind a kind of login system of some kind. It's also going to be a central hub that's going to access specific features, which can be all sorts of things. And we'll get into that today, but it might be account management. That's a very common one on portals. Member only content. So the sort of stuff that, you're not going to just put out in the open on your website. It can be somewhere that you can find events. It can be, and really it's somewhere that you can create a personalized experience for all your different members or users. And it's just, a part of, your setup where they can go and find different things. But of course, the obvious question here is kind of like, well, why is it different from a website? Let's kind of define that a bit better. What's a portal versus a website? Portal, as I've said, requires sign up. And so that's one thing that makes it different. It requires personalized information. Well, it provides personalized information. It's very personalized to kind of the setup you've got. It's really going to be tailored towards your members. It's not going to be as generalized. It's going to focus on things like account management, as we said. It's going to be interactive, going to be collaborative. There's going to be things that you can do together as a community there. And you can also offer your membership services and features there, the kind of thing that you might want to gate off from the general public and put behind the login system. Whereas a website, on the other hand, it's accessible to all. It's going to have more generalized information. It's going to focus on things like public marketing and branding. So it's going to be about your perception in general. It's not going to be as tailored to the people that you're working with. It's going to be all about the content distribution, putting it out. And, obviously a portal, you're going to have your specific content that you're going to give out to your members, but this might be more general stuff like press releases or things that you want everyone to find, like some general videos. And it's also going to be very focused, generally a website on kind of conversion, attracting new supporters. On your portal, they're already going to be there. You might want to think about how you can keep engaging them, as we're going to be discussing today, but it's quite different in terms of the aims you're looking for. Your website's really about drawing in the new people and convincing them to engage with you in the first place. So that's kind of a brief kind of introduction to the differences between the two. But what are the benefits? And well, why do you need one, first of all? I think we'll start with the fact that your members or your users are actively looking for one. So according to reports, like 88% of people want brands that they interact with to have some kind of self-service area where they can go and do things, themselves. And it's really important because it kind of is a theme of empowerment. So you can empower your members this way. It also empowers your team. How does it do this? Well, it does it by giving your members 24/7 access to all the different features that they want, and so they can resolve their issues faster, which, office hours, you probably don't work 24/7, unless you're in a massive organization, you probably don't have 24/7 hour support either. And people like to do things late at night quite often. So it's really, really useful that they can come and resolve these issues quickly. And if it's a small task, like just account management, updating some details, it's probably, it's better if your team don't have to deal with things like that and they can do it themselves, which frees up your team to do, more impactful, more interesting tasks that can help grow your organization. The other thing that is worth saying is that it's the first port of call for information on your organization. So if your members are looking for something about your organization, the portal's a great first place to go. Websites, as I said, might be more focused on kind of attracting new people and kind of like to have generalized messages, whereas a member portal is going to be a lot more focused on, well, what do the members actually want to know? What are they, stuff that they're getting out of their membership and that kind of stuff. Another thing that you can do with a portal is you can really personalize the experience, say, like based on the different membership types. And we say membership types could also be, type of donor you are. If you're a donor, a major donor, you could have a slightly different experience on the site. You can customize that a bit for portals. You can customize the experience a bit for the, say, like a bronze member, silver member. You can give them slightly different things so they can see different things in the portal. Maybe based on their interests. There's all sorts of exciting things you can do, and it's a lot more, you can tailor it in a lot better way. It also provides increased resource access. So you guys, I'm sure, create all sorts of fantastic resources and services for all of the people that you, your members, your supporters. You want to make sure that they get them and that they can get access to them. And so how do we make this as easy as possible? Well, we put it in a place, this portal, where they can find it and they know it's there. And we just make it really easy to kind of search for. And that's, like, again, a fantastic resource for all of you, because it just saves you so much time having to, distribute it them, and saves your members so much time when they can just go, I know it's there, and get access to it and take advantage of it all. And it's a benefit of itself. It's a whole area just dedicated to members that's really helping them kind of, get access to all these different services, centralizes it all. And you can even start providing extra services, scale up different services. And there's just so much more potential that you can unlock for your organization. Portal.
Bless you.
And I think at this point, yes, I'll pass over to Louise for a brief look at how one looks.
Yes, and I'm just going to quickly grab the screen share from you, if that's okay. Right. So we're going to just start off by just taking a look at what a portal looks like. And we're going to, of course, use our CiviPlus portal as our example portal. So this portal comes with CiviPlus out of the box, ready to go, and there's lots of different areas. So we're just going to do a quick overview of some of the key areas that you can have in your portal. I'm just checking that the video is going to play at the speed I want and in the quality I want, which it now is. Great. So here we have, someone's just logged in, and here we are in the portal. We've got a nice personalized welcome message. Hi, I'm Tony. I think we'll find out it's Tony Stark later on. There he is. And you can actually use that area to update the password or change my details. There's a reminder button here that my profile is actually only 80% complete, which means it's got a little reminder to try and fill it in, and I can click through and fill in the rest of my personal details. So you as an organization can decide what those personal details are, and you can add the fields that you want to add, the information you want to capture, and then encourage people to fill in to get 100% completeness. There's also a button here which allows people to decide if they'd like to be displayed in the members directory, and we'll show you that a little bit later on. But having a members directory can be a really great way to help build a community within your organization. So back to the home page, you've got options to add announcements if there's something exciting coming up. There's a reminder here for an overdue payment, which would be useful to save your team members from chasing people all the time. We've got news articles. The first few have popped up on the home page, events, and there's also an area down here, which is a call to action asking for a donation. And you can choose what to show on this front page and what information you want to share as the call to action. So if on the side here, we can jump in and out and to have more detailed views of each of the areas. So this is the news section where we can see all different types of articles. And as Alex was talking about personalization, depending on the membership type, you can choose what type of news articles to show to different types of members. So if you have a student membership, or you have someone with the highest level of membership, you might want to show different articles that relate to them more directly. Let's jump into the events section here. We can see all the events that are on offer. You can book straight through. And these might be member-only events that only members are allowed to see and have the chance to book onto, which you can control in the CRM. Here we have our invoice history, so we can quickly see what we've paid, what's overdue. We can pay it now, or we can download an invoice, which can be really useful. And we'll talk a bit more about that later. But here's an example to see how they can have the invoice. We can add your logo and design that for you, and then they've got that all there to hand. We have a committee area, which can be really great for membership organizations or charities or anyone that's got any kind of committee, trustee boards, or advisory boards, volunteers. So if you're on a committee in the CRM in CiviPlus, it will show up here, and then you can see who else is on the committee, any documents, any meetings coming up, and all that information is in one place. There's a certificates area. So if your organization offers any kind of certification, they can access that there. Here's our members directory. So here's Mr. Tony Stark. He looks very nice. And we can see what information he's chosen to share. Actually, if we click to Mr. Steve Rogers, he's chosen to share his contact number, and people can choose if they would like people to be able to get in touch with them, or if they just like to say that they're part of the community. There's an application section, which we're going to explain a little bit more about later, but any kind of application can be managed through the portal. And we will go into that in a bit more detail, but this is just showing you an overview of this. And there's a review applications area where if you have someone reviewing your application, there's a separate additional area. If they've got the right login type, this area will show up, and then they can review the application that they've been assigned. So that's just the whistle-stop overview of what a portal can look like from the top. And now we're going to go a little bit into each section in more detail. So let that finish, and then we'll move along. Right. So that's what a portal looks like. And we've talked a little bit about it, but what can it really do? So let's get into full screen somehow, or not. Sorry. There we go. Coming out of the video. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about each area of the portal. and how they can help you engage, retain, and connect with your audiences. And what do we mean by these? So engaging, we're talking about infusing your supporters and getting them invested in your activities and your services so they can really feel the benefit of being a member of your organization. And why is that? Because we want to retain them. We want to keep their patronage and we want to ensure renewals year on year. And the way that will happen is if they're connected, if they're getting a personal attachment to your organization and what you have to offer them. So let's start with the self-service updating of details. As Alex said, that's something that 88% of people really want from a brand, the ability to control and self-serve their own details. So members can change their own details and they can do that. And immediately those changes will go into the CRM so that you as a staff member don't have to do anything about it. But let's talk about the ERC benefits to your member. So it doesn't require a communication with staff, which actually is a real benefit. They can just go in and do it when it suits them. And that's also part of it. It's like, it might be at an odd time of day or night, and they don't need to wait for a backwards and forwards, a confirmation from a member of staff. They can just go in and know it's done. And this is really useful when members, maybe they move house, they change their job, they've got a new email, new phone number, whatever it might be, a small little change. Just being able to go in and update it by themselves really will feel like a benefit. And for you, it's an opportunity to collect more information. So you can choose within that profile section what they need to update to get that 100% completeness. So if you want them to tell you where they work or tell you what they're most interested in, then you can use that as an opportunity to gather more information, which will help you with your communications and your strategies going forward when you know what people want. So talking a bit more about the contribution history and downloading of invoices. So that section will display the payment history of a member so they can really easily see the history of their relationship with your organization, their financial relationship. And they can also download not only current, but past invoices, which can be really useful for them. And it displays the payment status really clearly. You can see green, you've paid, orange, you're due. I mean, when you're overdue, you don't want to know what happens then. No, it just goes red. It makes it really clear and easy for members to track their financial commitment to you. And as we saw in the example above, there was an ability to have a notification on the homepage about overdue invoices, just to also save your staff time chasing everybody. I mean, you probably might still have to chase some people, but hopefully it's one less chase. So what are the ERC benefits, the engage, retain, and connect benefits? So members can be really clear about what is due and when, which can really help them with their financial planning. It reduces unnecessary chasing and communication, so they just feel like the whole process is more within their control and much smoother. And it can be really useful if they need that invoice because maybe a company is paying their membership, or maybe they need to show proof of it if they're self-employed for tax purposes. It's really easy for them to be able to easily find all of the invoices in one place and download them themselves. So again, along that same vein is the actual membership details as well. So being able to see your membership type and knowing exactly when your renewal date is really great, instead of having to trawl through loads of emails and find the right one. And they can also easily see previous membership types. If they've had a progression throughout your organization, it's really nice to actually have that full history of their relationship with you. So I probably already talked about some of the benefits in that introduction, but it is giving transparency to them and visibility over their membership, which I think is empowering them to feel confident in your organization, in their relationship with your organization. Making payments really easy to manage and payment options easy to manage as well. And of course, just making it so easy and simple to renew. That is the best thing, so that people keep coming back for more. So I'm just going to take this moment to dive in a little bit more to the membership area of our self-service portal. So we have a section here called My Membership. So in each portal, you can pick and choose what sections you need. So all the portals will look slightly different. So here's the My Memberships area. And you can see here, this person's got a current membership and a past membership. We can see the renewal date, and we can see actually it's going to renew automatically, which is really good to know. And that's because we've paid by an offline recurring contribution. But we do actually have the option here to change the payment method if we wanted to. And so you can add that in and encourage people, to switch to direct debit, for example. So it's a really useful bit to be able to just have real clarity over all the times and options for that membership. And now I'm going to show you what's happened when a membership has expired. So here we can see in the past, we've got a full annual membership that we used to have. And the renewal date was the 31st of January. And there it is in red because we've passed the renewal date. But there's a really easy option to rejoin now. And they can just click that button and go through the process of rejoining. Nice and easy. And then the last thing I'm going to show you here is actually what the back end looks like for you, that you can configure this to say exactly what you want. So you have choice in the icons used, the title, the information, even the button. You can use the text that works best with your organization. You can add the link to the right join up list for that right person and that right membership type. And you can obviously choose what payment processing that you want to have available for them. So this is just giving you a sneak preview at how simple and easy it is to self-configure this from the back end. So let's jump out of that and back into the slideshow. And I think, yes, I've got one more section before I'm going to pass back to Alex. How could I forget committees and volunteers? So, I mean, I worked as a fundraiser for many years, and actually my role was looking after a lot of different community committees, and I wish I had had this area to offer them. So let's talk about what it can do. It can show members of a group or committee and pull that information from the CRM. So on the CRM, you would put everyone into a group in CiviPlus, and then it would be pulled through. And if that member then logs in, they will have access to this area and they will be able to see this section. As I just said, only committee members will have access to this section. And you can publish meeting dates and share documents, as we showed in the earlier demo. And you can see what other committee members are also on that particular committee. So if you're on more than one committee and you can't remember who else is on which committee, you can go in and see exactly who's there. And so let's talk about the ERC benefits: engage, retain, and connect benefits. So it's easy to keep track of committee members. And, me on the back end managing the list, it's great. I can manage that in the CRM. But being on a committee and being able to see who else is on your committee is really useful, especially if you're new. It's a really great way to feel part of that committee and really feel like you've got a space dedicated for you and your other committee members. And the best bit is all the committee information is in one place. So you can have the meeting dates, future meeting dates, agendas, minutes from the meeting, all that information in one place. So any committee member can log in at any time. And this portal, this section is that go-to area for information and resource around the committee. And to be honest with you, that would be invaluable, because I've definitely spent a lot of time having one committee member email me going, I can't find the minutes of the last meeting, or, oh, when's the next meeting date? I don't remember. So it'd be just really great to direct them all to this one place. And it's easy for the chairman to communicate with the committee as well. There's actually an additional functionality that if you've got the role of chairman in CiviPlus or in the system, then you've got the ability to send out an email communication to all the committee members through the portal. So that's also a really nice and easy way to manage everything. But they can send out the agendas and the, whatever information they want, depending on how you run your committee. So I think I'm going to pause there, and I'm going to hand over to Alex to talk about news. Do you want to take back the screen, Alex?
There we go, and unmute myself. Yes, we are back. So yeah, let's talk a bit about news. And so, yeah, one really exciting part about portals is that you can put your own news on there. And it's, obviously you'll probably be sharing news on your own website as well, on your blog or wherever. But something you can really do with your portal is you can share tailored news. As we've already said, you can kind of, if you've got student membership or you've got a specific type of user that you really think with a certain type of news, and maybe this type of news you don't think they want to see, you can really tailor their experience and make it short so they can see certain types of content. And so in terms of the engage, retain, connect benefits, it's just easy to discover, member relevant news, so they don't have to, maybe you're doing press releases which aren't necessarily meant for them or something. And so, they don't need to go in this area, but there might be really useful content and, of course, member specific content, which might be going in here. And they're more likely to engage clearly with content that's really relevant to them. So that's really good. You can also highlighting your value to your members. If they're seeing news articles which are going to inform them, help them, with whatever they're doing in their profession or maybe just in their life, then it's going to be really useful for them to see relevant news immediately. And if you're addressing their needs, then you can build loyalty by doing that. So it's like a new section. It sounds like a little thing, but it's super easy. Just kind of post stuff here. People can see it, engaging content, nice to read, and it's a really good little section. Of course, a kind of a bigger section, and if it's relevant to you, I know lots of the organizations we work with run lots of events. So great thing here is that you can list all of the events you're running and put them into a great interface for people to find. One of the more difficult things is making it easy for everyone to find all the events you're running, especially if you're running a lot. And it goes straight just from the CRM with no extra work. So this is how, within the CiviPlus setup, you can create within the events management part of CiviCRM your event, and then it just goes straight into the portal. I think you need to tick one box, but other than that, it's straight over there. And then, they can start booking from the portal immediately. You can see on the edge here that there's a little book now button. And you can do also things like you can show member only events. So this is a nice little feature we've got in here as well. And I think there's an extension for normal CiviCRM users. But, if you want an event that only people on a specific list, or, in a specific group, or just specific type of membership can sign up to, you can make it so, that will only appear for them in that circumstance. And you can make some really interesting events, maybe like for your top membership level, only they can attend that event. And so in terms of like the benefits here, obviously the main one, as I've said, is like it just makes it so much easier to find all of the events which you're running, especially if you're running a lot. If you're running training courses and all these different things as well, possibly, as some of the organizations we work with, it's searchable. It just makes it a lot easier. And you can do filters and stuff. And you can also manage bookings here with wait lists, and you might be able to see there's a wait list here as well. So, wait list, book now, you can have all this different functionality. And of course, it highlights kind of the benefits that your members are getting from these member only events, which are going to be exclusive to them. Now we're going to talk about a section which is quite interesting, I think, and certainly some of the professional organizations we work with, the trade associations, find really exciting. Do appreciate that perhaps not every organization does this, but it's all about CPD, which is continuous personal development. So you can log CPD hours in a portal in CiviPlus. And in terms of like what CPD is, it's kind of like all the training hours people are doing and working towards, and kind of showing the effort they're putting in towards, growing within their professional capacity. And you can log them within the portal as a user. You can put them under different categories as well if you want to do that. So, obviously within the CPD world, not everything is the same thing, and you can create your own categories. Maybe, for instance, you have like a certain type, different types, like work related. Maybe you have something that's a bit more, personal development. Maybe within your field there's like a specific subsection that you want to look under as well. You can also automatically log CPD hours from events attended. So if there are events that have been put in within the system, then they can just automatically log those things. The users won't need to do anything. If they're marked as attended, you just say this is the CPD hour value for it, and it will just automatically go through. It's really good. In terms of like why this is such a good thing for people, who are doing who are doing CPD, it's just great because members can track their CPD hours, through this. They don't have to write it all down themselves. It's just easier for you as well. If you can see them on the system and you can report on them, you can kind of like make some analysis of like how much CPD the people you're working with are doing. And it also makes applications and approvals so much easier. And so I guess this is one of the main reasons people use a CPD within this area, is that if you want a certain membership type or membership level, you might require a certain amount of hours to kind of qualify for this membership, to be a certain level of membership within a professional body, to be recognized as something. You might need to kind of say, I have put a lot of time into working and making sure that I am developed enough. And therefore, when you're looking at trying to approve it, you can go, oh, yes, it's in the system. I can see it, rather than someone having to gather together lots of documents and send you a mess you have to review later down the line. So I'll just kind of like have a quick look at a video kind of like of what this looks like, to kind of give you a brief explanation. And so, yeah, as you can see, we've got the CPD area here. We've got some basic information about the member in the type. Over to the side, you can see the amount of CPD hours that have been logged so far versus a target, which is set within the system. So you can set how many CPD hours people should be getting. Nice graph of over time TPD hours being logged. You can also see here the different categories, like formal learning, professional activity, self-directed, all these kind of different types. Again, customizable. You can then, edit a few different things within it, the hours, some thoughts about it. You can add evidence. You can add an extra one super easily. All different exciting sorts of stuff here. And and if you go up, you can see we've got this graph, but this is quite long. I think it's over 3 years, so you can filter it if you want to do it over a shorter period of time, of course. And another exciting bit of functionality here is that you can, export. If you're a user, if you're an end user, a member, you can export all of this to a CSV, for your own personal records, or just so you can keep track of it, in your own way, if you like. And there's also, I won't go into it now, but there's like all sorts of extra functionality for reviewers behind the scenes. You can lock CPD hours whilst they are, once an applicant has submitted something, you can lock it for a bit. So you can kind of say, I want to review this first, and then you can open it up again so they can't kind of change their CPD hours mid-application. Okay. Same issue as Louise. Getting out of the full screen is always exciting. Next section is about certificates. So this is also an exciting part. We've talked clearly about CPD, so lots of that's training based, and clearly this is quite relevant to something like that. You can create automated certificates that people can get access to from within the portal. Sort of the use cases here, clearly we've talked about training there, possibly also the membership, just to kind of give you something there. Could be other things, maybe it's just a volunteer, certification, maybe someone who volunteers with you. You want to say, hey, you're certified as a volunteer now. Might just be something fun. Maybe it's just you've been with us 5 years or something like that. Up to you, you can decide. And you can do it for, all various record types, as I've just said. And it kind of bases it off a HTML template. So you put the template into the backend on the CRM, and then it will generate it, using all the tokens, as in, you kind of say first name, last name, and it generates a certificate based on your template for each person. And then members can download them themselves. And so if you do provide certificates at the moment, or, you're thinking about it, clearly if a member loses a certificate, which, happens from time to time, sadly, it's fantastic if they can then get access to it themselves, because having to kind of do that, kind of find their certificate on whatever system you're using and email it back and forth. I worked in training in the past, and this did happen. It takes up time, and it's much more pleasant, they can just go, I'm going to go find it, and it's just there for them. So in terms of the benefits, it does provide some digital proof of certain things. Certainly, like with training, it's really, really useful to have that proof so they can provide it to an employer or whoever it is they want to provide it to, and credibility. It's, as I said, just really easy to reobtain if they want to find it. They don't have to communicate with you, because again, it's just there for them. And it gives members a really tangible benefit that they can work with. It's certificates feel nice. It feels nice to be recognized for something. Next up, a really exciting part of a good portal, I think, is application management. And I know Louise touched on this a bit, but I think we'll talk about it a bit here, because it kind of starts with, it's so good because it's got really easy to submit web forms that you can use through this. And it interfaces then directly with the CRM. So you put your web form up, you get someone to fill in all the information, and then it goes straight into your CRM. There's no messing around, no, getting the form, and then you have to fill all the details into the database yourself. It just goes straight in. So it's all there ready to process. And the truly great part about it when you come to the portal is that you can then track the applications in the portal as a user. You can do all sorts of, different things. You can see the status, for instance. And you can also have an area, as Louise said earlier, for the reviewers. So it's not just, clearly you'll have an area in the back end where you're managing all of this yourself, but it makes sure that each person can manage their part in a really clear, obvious way that's very organized, And where's this a benefit? Well, it can provide a really quick and simple online process, because you can process it easier because it goes through the centralized system. And also it's just quicker for your members to figure out what's going on with it. It's not the, download a form, which, happens sometimes when you don't have these systems. It's just, no, I can put it into a web form, much easier, less points of interaction, just need to do this. Also, you can do things like you can save a draft, super useful, especially as some of the organizations we work with have very involved application processes. Maybe, for instance, you need several types of documentation to support your application, like the CPD stuff we were talking about. But, if you're trying to also manage multiple applications at the same time, yeah, maybe you want to save some drafts, come back to it later when you've got something, maybe you get interrupted mid-flow. You don't need to kind of fill in a web form on the spot, and especially if it's a long one, you can come back to it, and that's a great thing. You can see in the portal here, you can have that draft, and yeah, if you're doing multiple at once, you can say, this is the status of this one, this is the status of that one. And I think the major benefit to your users is just that it makes it so much more transparent what's going on. They can see exactly where the status is, and you can set all these statuses. You can say, hey, it's in review. It's kind of in the beginning of the process, it's past the first round of review. And that's really up to you for you to kind of decide how much transparency you want to give them. But it's like, people can see that they've not just submitted an application. It's kind of, okay, I've got a thank you screen, but has it really gone to them? Have they really got it? I don't know. It's kind of just that visual reminder of, yes, it's with us. And it, makes someone feel seen and makes them know that, yes, actually someone is dealing with my application right now. And so, yeah, in terms of the types of application that you might deal with, of course, here we've got something about volunteer management, but could be membership applications or all sorts of different applications you could be dealing with. And I'll just show you a quick video based on volunteer management here. As you can see here, we've got a very simple web form, and it's, you can fill in all these custom details and skills and stuff, and you put this in, and then it goes straight through after you've submitted it to the CRM itself. And once you're in the CRM, as you can see, this is the backend interface that you would see. If we refresh, we can see that Sophie's kind of application has come in. You can see all the different applications you've got, the different types of applications, and this is kind of like what the back-end user would see. You've seen a little bit already of like the front end, and you can see all the statuses that you can give people. And yeah, here, go into the individual record, and there's lots of exciting things, all the activities you've got logged, all the milestones, and all the different communications. And then, yeah, I think Louise teased this one a bit earlier, but we'll get to the membership directory now. This is a really exciting piece of functionality where you can find a list of all of the members, although, you can set filters for it as well. Maybe there's different types of members you have. Maybe they are, different levels of membership you want to do, or perhaps different professions, or whatever it is that works for you, maybe different specialities. Every membership organization is different. So, it's hard to give too many specific examples that are going to apply to too many people. But yeah, the one really important thing to note here is that members can opt in or out quite easily. It's not just going to be you're opted in and that's the end of it. Members can do this in their own, updating the details. So if they want to appear, they can make it. So yeah, I know I'm going to appear. If they don't want to, they don't have to. In terms of the benefits you get from this, why do we even want a membership directory? Well, it does some great things, like it lets members network more easily. All the users and supporters can see each other. They can say, yeah, there's lots of other real people here. Maybe there's people who might be quite useful to me in terms of finding mentorship within the field or guidance. If you've got someone who's quite new to whatever, if you're a professional body or you're someone, you have a kind of wider range of people, and you've got people with different levels of experience in your area, people might want to find out more, from more experienced people. So it's good for that. And then another great thing you've got here is that it can establish trust or credibility. If you've got a lot of members and you've got people who look, who've got serious credibility in terms of like their positions, and it just adds a lot more to kind of the credibility you've got within the field, and makes people feel like, I've joined a reputable organization here. I know that there are other real members. So we've covered a lot there. I know there's a lot of different things in portals, and I think this is the exciting thing about portals. There's just so much you can do with them, so much you can present and really make that experience special. And I'm going to sum up now in terms of the things that I think are important for, why you need a portal and why they're just so great to have. It is that central hub. You can see all the different things we talked about here that your members or your users, your supporters could find, and it's going to be that first port of call they're going to go for information. It's also, going to make those services so much easier to access, and importantly, at any time. That 24/7 hour thing, 24/7, all times, cannot be stressed enough. It is so important. You guys will not have like 24/7 hours, in the day to deal with things. So, but it's also a unique benefit to your members, as I already said. Yeah, it's just a great place that you can say, yeah, we have a membership portal that's specifically dedicated to our members, to our supporters. You can go here, you can find everything. This is where you get our resources. This is an advantage you get from signing up to us. You get treated to this special little area that you can only see then. You can also make it easier to offer all the new services. Some of these might be new services that you're thinking about maybe doing, or, the stuff that you could use that for. But also, it's all about the scalability. Think about something like applications. It might be fine, handling like 50 applications in a very manual way. But if you want to scale that to like 200 at the same time, if you've got this really great organized system that makes each party see it very transparently in an organized way, it can deliver fantastic results for that. But, that can apply to lots of the different areas here. And of course, the most important thing that we really want to stress is that it gives supporters the personalized experience they want. Your members, your supporters, they really want to feel special. And as you're scaling your organization, you can't talk to every single person one-on-one, much as we'd love to. How can we deliver that at a scale that each person feels like they've got a personal connection with you? They can get access to the things that they want, that are relevant to them. Well, we're going to have to use some kind of level of kind of automation, some rule sets and kind of ways of kind of thinking about how can we give them direct access to their relationship with our organization without consuming, too much manpower and human time. So this is a fantastic way to give them access to like all these invoices, save yourself a lot of time kind of on the back and forth communication, and make them feel valued. And so I think at this point, I will hand over to Louise, who's just going to talk a bit more about CiviPlus, because obviously lots of what we've been talking about today has really been talking a lot about CiviPlus.
Thanks, Alex. So I think I've taken back control. Now some of you are already using CiviPlus, which is fantastic. There's so much to unlock within CiviPlus, so it's possible. I hope that we've given you some extra things to think about with using the portal. For those of you who are not familiar with CiviPlus, it is basically a dedicated nonprofit, all-in-one SaaS platform that is powerful, easy to use, and cost-effective. It is based on Civi CRM for those of you who are Civi CRM users, but it's designed to be out of the box and ready to go and simple and easy to use. So the portal is a very special extra feature that only comes with CiviPlus. So if you are using Civi CRM and you like the look of this portal, then we definitely would love to talk to you about CiviPlus. We have the portal out of the box and ready to go. You can add there was a question earlier in the chat about adding your organization's branding, using fonts, colors, and logos. And this portal is set up already to pull all the information directly from the CRM. So just a quick overview about what else CiviPlus can do, because it can do so many things. So it can manage your contacts, and as it's designed specifically for nonprofits, it really understands all the different types of relationships that an individual can have with your organization. Working in a nonprofit means one person can be several things. They can be a trustee, they can be a volunteer, a donor, a member, whatever it is. So CiviPlus really understands that. Taking payments online, we use Stripe as our payment processor, and Go Cardless coming very, very soon for direct debit. Tracking fundraising opportunities, so adding into your pipeline any major donor opportunities and really tracking how that's going. Managing the memberships, of course, otherwise we wouldn't be here, but CiviPlus has got a really comprehensive and member management system that allows you to manage multiple complex memberships, and we're going to have a whole other webinar about that later. Events, managing events, running events, free events, paid events, ticket prices, different discounts, all sorts of things within events, and of course the CPD events with points attached to them for that tracking. Drag and drop email builder, which is really fantastic to have all of your email marketing able to be done in one place and have all your data in one place. So you can create your list and keep them all stored within CiviPlus, and then send the email out directly, and then be able to see on each person's contact record exactly who that email, what email's gone to them, have they opened it, and get all those stats there. There's a case management functionality if you're working with case management type of organization. A task dashboard, which is my favorite thing. You can assign tasks to yourself. You can assign tasks to other members of staff, which I really enjoy doing. And you can even have auto tasks be created when something happens. So maybe someone sends in an application, you can have it set up to automatically create a task for you if you then have to do something manual. Reporting and analytics, of course, there's about 100 templates built into CiviPlus, and you can create your own. Surveys and petitions, so that you can ask your members what they want and really be able to get information about what they're enjoying about your services or what they're most interested in, so you can help decide your strategy going forward and what kind of communications you want to send to them. Managing your volunteers, so tracking those applications and managing all that process, and maybe availability as well. Tracking any kind of application. Maybe it's a grant application, maybe it's they want to be a helpline assistant, or maybe they want to be a member of your board. Maybe there's an application process for that. Any application. Grant management as well. The certificate generator, which obviously creates the certificates for the certificate section, and the all-important self-service portal, which we've just been talking about. So here's a first look at a contact record for those of you who are not familiar with CiviPlus. Mr. Tony Stark again, our very good friend. So you can see here we've got all his key information really easily displayed up front on the main page. We can see where he works, his personal contact information. We can see he's actually tagged here as a major donor and a volunteer. There's those complex relationships. And down the side, we can see every other area of the system that he is connected to and that he's had an interaction with. So you can jump in and out. We can see his memberships, what events he's been to, all those types of things. He hasn't had any emails yet from us, so we must get on that, Alex. So that's just a little introductory sneak peek. And we'd really love to talk to you. So Jack actually couldn't join us today, but he is our account manager. And probably most of you already know Jack. We've already spoken to him, and if you haven't, you will do soon, I hope. I'm always on hand as well, of course, to have a conversation. And really, we'd love to give you a personalized demo, really understand what it is that your organization needs to get out of your system, and then we can help shape the right thing for you. And yes, our next webinar is going to be a CiviPlus 101. So it's an introductory webinar, a 101 webinar, focusing on unlocking your membership association's digital potential. So today we focus just on the portal, but in the next webinar, we're going to do a general overview of the whole system and how it can really help a membership organization do even more with their digital presence. So that's Friday, the 16th of June at 2 o'clock UK time. So please do sign up if that's of interest to you. And I think that's going to draw us to a close. And I think there's probably a couple of questions in the chat.
Yes.
Which is great. There's been loads of questions which we've been trying to answer as we're going along. So let's just take one or two before we go.
Yeah, I think there's a question here about how it's, all of this is set up within CiviPlus, and yeah, it's out of the box. And I think, if you want specific help, I think, Meredith, you're from Chartered Compassion, aren't you? So I think, if you reach out to, I'm not sure who the project manager is in your case, but they'll probably be able to help you. But yeah, lots of it is there, and some of the bits probably take a bit more configuration. Others, something like events, is very simple. So
yeah, if that's something you want to focus on as part of your implementation process, then you just need to let your project manager know at the beginning, and they'll make sure to do that for you. But you'll already have a big insight, which is great.
Yeah, all the different things it can do, which is exciting. There's a question here about the resources area, Louise.
Oh yes, so the resources area. What's the question specifically?
We didn't show a resource area in the news section.
Oh, I didn't show one. Right, sorry. Yes, there is a resources area that we have. Actually, it's quite a new area for CiviPlus. So actually, that's why I think it wasn't in the main video up front. So thank you for telling us that. But yes, there is a resources area available which is another tab down the side. And then people will be able to click there and then access any documentation, downloads, or links to other things as well.
Yeah, and of course, there's the committees area, which we did show, where you can put all the documents and stuff in there. So, but yeah, it's like a more broad area of that than that, but very, very new. So
yes, which we're very excited about, because more and more people were asking us for it. So that's the best thing about CiviPlus as well. It's constantly evolving, constantly growing and changing. New features are coming all the time. So it's really great. And yeah, we listen to what the people want, basically.
Yeah, I guess there's a question here from Cheryl at Mac, which is all about how can members exchange skills, experience, and services with one another. You can provide contact details on the platform. In terms of it's not, the portal itself isn't really an area where you can have a kind of chat directly with people. If you want kind of online forum or something, we do separate work where we work with community platforms, but that's probably a separate conversation, Louise.
Yes, but of course, if members are choosing to share their contact details in the members directory,
yes,
they'll be able to contact each other. And you can choose what information is shared in that directory. So if you want to add skills or something like that, then they can fill those in, and then you'll be able to see what each person can do. And then that should serve that function for you.
Yeah, exactly. So, you can provide each other details.
Yeah. Right, more questions. Wow, they're coming in, which is great.
The members directly, the members only available there.
So actually, yeah, so the idea being that this is a members area for the members to access and see that members directory. If you want to have a public register, that would be on your website, which would be in a different area. However, there might be, you could have a login to the portal and not be a member and still have permission to see that area. So as long as you log into the portal, you can have a login that's free. But once you're logged in, then you as an organization can choose if a non-paying member can still have access to that members directory. So that's a choice you have.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we're calling it a members portal, but you don't necessarily need to be a member to have a login, but you probably don't want to give a non-member access to vast amounts of things for obvious reasons. So
you want to give people a reason to pay and become a member to have access to things like this. So there's a couple of questions about working with websites. CiviPlus is a standalone platform. So working with any kind of website, you can create the links to move people to the portal. So you can add a link on your website and then it will just direct people, take them to the portal. Any links for event bookings or any sign up or application form, you just add that link to your website and then it will take them off to that page in Civi. So it's really simple and easy to get set up straight away, and it's very cost effective because all you have to do is create a link to connect people between the two. The typical cost, Mike, maybe we can have a separate chat with you about that. All of our platform fees are displayed on our website, and we have, the starting package is £50 a month for 1,000 contacts and up to 5 users. So Mike, please take a look at our website. So, but actually the best thing to do would be to have a chat so we can understand a bit more about the size and scale of your organization and the kind of things that you'd be looking to use the system for. So we'll make a note and we'll hopefully can set that up separately. Any final questions? We're 1 minute to 2, so we're wonderfully on time. If we've missed a question, apologies. There were so many coming through. So any other questions, we can speak to you separately.
Probably a good question here from Diane, though.
Oh, there's another one. Oh, sorry.
User equals a member of staff rather than anyone who logs into the portal has a user account.
So anyone who logs into the portal will be given a type of role. And so they may be a non-paying member, maybe they're an administrator for your backend. So you can, a user is anyone who uses the portal, but it's just what type of role do they have? And is their relationship for your
No,
organization.
I suppose, you know, if you've got the pricing up in front of you, just to explain how it kind of interacts with that, you know, contacts on our website, contacts would be a user, whereas user, yes, is your back-end staff. It's people who have access to the CRM. So
Sorry, I misunderstood the question there. Sorry.
yeah, absolutely.
Diane,
it would be outrageous if we were charging you like user fees for every single person
sorry,
every single
Diane.
member.
Yes. Why don't we have a separate conversation about that, and then we can understand how big your organization is and how many users that you would need, and then we can work it out, because depending on how everyone's using the system as well. So I think let's wrap it up there, because I think doing a mixture of chat and questions and different websites, I think we're jumping all over the place.
Yeah.
It's much better to set up a personal call so we can really understand your specific needs. So I think with that, if there are any other questions, you know, obviously, please feel free to contact us, and we will be sending out a recording of this tomorrow. So I'm going to say thank you, everyone. Wish you all a wonderful afternoon, and we'll hopefully see you next time.
I hope you start using portals in the near future.
Yeah. So let's stop the recording.